Right, good morning, Captain Dubon here. I know it's been a while since I put some content out there, but I have not forgotten. It's just been busy with we're going to talk about the PLC boards. But I realized that throughout my videos, like I really never emphasized or put focus on the PLC boards. But we're going to talk a little bit about that so you can have a better understanding on how that works in the application and all that for PLC. Again, Petunia's class, designed for college freshmen, designed for college sophomores and juniors. Allows you to go to Officer Candidate School in the summer times between your academic years. And then you have the option of accepting a commission as a second lieutenant upon graduating with your bachelor's degree, okay? So the one thing with the platoon leaders class, there are 4 selection boards that determine whether you're going to Officer Candidate School in the summer. And so let's get straight to it. But again, the focus of today's video is not just for you to understand like, okay, this is the selection board that happens on this date. It's for you understand kind of like how the district deals with the numbers and really what's the best chance of selection. So we'll talk a little bit about that, okay? And why it's early and why it's a good idea for you to see your OSA early. All right, so again, this is just my district, the 12th Marine Corps District. These are just some dates that are just for us. The other districts are not too far from these dates, okay? So there's 4 selection boards that happen. Approximate dates, the 25%, and I'll explain what that is here in a second. 25% usually goes in October timeframe, 50% December, 75% board in February, which for us just happened a couple weeks ago. And then the last board goes on in sometime in April, somewhere in the middle of April. Now, this is how this works. So, for example, like my district is going to be assigned a number. So, in this case, my district, and these are true numbers, and this should be kind of equal to all the districts in the Marine Corps. But the 12th Marine Corps District was assigned with 32 applicants, ground, for the PLC 21 class. So all my college juniors, there's only an allocation of 32 ground officers for 11 or 12 OSOs, if that makes sense, all right? So at the 25% board, in theory, 25% of all the applicants for ground are selected. So we do 32 divided by 4. We're looking at about 8, approximately. Well, not approximately. We're looking at 8. So in theory, we are selecting 8 candidates for ground on the 25% board. All right? Now, this is where it gets interesting. And why you have to kind of set your expectations when it comes to these boards. At the 25% board, again, I said in theory, they're supposed to select 8. They don't. And this is the reason why. They reserve the 25% board a little bit less than the required 25% because you have to remember that by October, not that many applications are in. So if they select 8, let's say only 8 people put in for ground. 8, which in reality, all 8 could get selected, if that makes sense. But because they want qualified applicants, they usually tend to select a little bit less than the 25% at the 25% mark. So what does this mean for you? It is, so as you're looking at these selection boards, understand that the 25% is probably the most difficult board to be selected on. Again, the only reason is because they tend to select a little bit less than the 25% because there's not enough applicants in the pool to select from, if that makes sense. So again, now we're going to get into like the bulk of the selection, which is, in my opinion, and not just opinion, it's numbers, the best time to get selected. It's really the 50 and 75% board. Again, 50% board, in theory, we're looking at the grounds, 32. You should have 16 applicants selected at the 50% board. Now, if we're keeping what I said is true, let's say they select 5 here, a little bit under the 25% of 8. In 50%, they are very close to selecting 50%. So now 50%, they're selecting a good bulk of applicants because now there's enough qualified applicants, and now they're selecting the bulk of these around the 50% baseline. Now, 75% is very similar to that, and I'm going to go over true numbers that just came out so you have an understanding. 75% board just happened. The top is PLC 21, so they've selected 24 out of 32 which puts us right at 75%. 8 plus 8 plus 8 equals 24. We had an allocation of 13 heirs for PLC 21. They've selected 10. So one above the selection, the 75%, right? It's got to be in one of either 9 or 10. But so 10 is the number. So this is very close to a true 75%. Now we're looking at the bottom numbers are PLC 22. PLC 22, again, very close. They're looking at selecting 75% of 21. So you're looking at about 5 applicants, so we should be at 15. Got it. So they're very close, again, to selecting a true 75% of the applicants at the 75% board. And again, 13 heirs, 75% of that is, we're looking at about 4. So a little bit under that. They selected there. If I did the math correctly. 13 divided 4, 8. So yes. So they're looking at about a little bit less than that. Looking at about 3. So the math was a little off. They're looking at about 3. So 9. So that's about right again. Okay. So these numbers are, again, very close to true 75%. Now this is where it gets interesting. The 100% board, in my opinion, is the second toughest board to be selected on. Why is that, you may ask? Well, you have to keep in mind that all these applicants that applied to these boards that were not selected, they're all doing what they're supposed to do to get selected. So this applicant at the 50%, his PFT was a 250. Okay, good. I'm going to get selected on the 75% board. Now he's a 270. Still not selected. His PFT right now, the same applicant, is probably about 30 points higher, if that makes sense. So now if you wait till April to apply, it's going to be more difficult than 75 to 50% because the pool is larger. And it's guys and girls that haven't gotten selected and they fixed their discrepancies and most of them, and now they're doing what they're supposed to do to get selected at the 100% board. Not just that, but it's all the applicants that the OSO has brought in from February to April. So again, the 100% is a very tough selection board. Not as tough as the 25%, but a little bit, just a little bit better at the 100%, but it's still not as good as the 50-75%. So again, the bulk of the selections are going to happen in these 2 boards. All right. So as far as you talking to your OSO, if you're not talking to them early, I'm talking about like even now, right? Even now, if you're a freshman and you're not in shape and you're not really, you're not where you're supposed to be at, well, talk to him now because this board is not too far from where we're at now, right? Just a couple months enough for you to get ready. So you talk to your OSO now to leave, not this summer, but next summer, you can get selected these boards right here. So there is never, in the PLC program, there is never a time where it's too early to talk to the OSO. It is not. Because again, if you talk to him now, you can be competitive for this board. But again, these are true numbers, at least to 75% of what we have. So again, the selection board just happened, got about 75% selected. And again, when you think about the selection board, 25%, just to recap what I said earlier, 25% difficult because they actually select less than 25%, and I explained why earlier. 50-75 are true 50-75 for most part, so that's the bulk of selection. And then 100, it's obviously the true 100, but it's a little bit more difficult because of the applicants and the qualified applicants that are there now just increase more than these boards right here. Again, at a later time, I can put some stats and talk about what it takes to get selected. But, generally speaking, strong PFT, everything that I talked about in previous videos. And again, so everybody that got selected, congratulations. Do good this summer. Not just do good, excel. Do excellent at Officer Candidate School. Go crush it. But other than that, good luck and thanks. And I'll talk to you guys soon.